137th Psalm is not an easy psalm. It does not call on the listener to look to the hills from which cometh our help. It does not celebrate a God whose rod and staff comforts us. It doesn't ask that God would lift us up on hinds feet. There's nothing pretty, nothing peaceful, nothing calming about the 137th Psalm. As a matter of fact, it's a psalm that I would bet they hope that oppressed people never look for in the Bible. It's one of those psalms and stories that in the slave Bibles that they would give our ancestors, they probably took out. Not only that, but the 137th Psalm is a bit peculiar because while it is ascribed to David writing, the captivity to Babylon happens long after David's reign is finished and after he's gone. Some scholars would love to say that David was being prophetic and foresaw that the people would be taken into Babylon. Some scholars say that Jeremiah wrote it as a psalm to David. But while we're not sure of the author, we know that it illustrates a hardship-faced people exiled to a foreign land, and that it captures the essence of their heart and dedication to God after a tumultuous time. It starts out in a sorrowful way, but somehow ends in a brutal declaration for God to take the babies of their enemies and dash their heads on the rocks. And I know all us good Christian folks are trying to figure out how could the people of God call for something so brutal, so grotesque, so hurt-filled. While we may be confused and have questions about who wrote it, when it was written, and why it was written, while we would love to ignore the harsh message at the end, the one thing that's clear is that it's coming from a heartbroken, tired, fed up, resistant people who are no longer willing to accept their circumstances, go along to get along, sing happy songs and appear joyful to those that are oppressing them, and are now calling for God to intervene in their situation, in their circumstances, in a way that will devastate those who have stood against them. In similar fashion, the song Kumbaya, which the choir sang last week, was not always the peaceful, folky, hokey, happy song that we use to call us together to ignore all of the challenges around us and make us grab hands and love one another and see one another. Kumbaya didn't start out as a song that we just joyfully ignore the things that have been done to us and ignore the things that have happened to us, and we just, we need a kumbaya moment, a moment that regardless of who we are and what has been done to us, a kumbaya moment regardless of where we've been and what we've been through, a kumbaya moment that no matter who's standing in front of us, that we just wave a magic wand, forget all that has happened and just start loving one another. The kumbaya moment does not call for a moment of clarity. It does not call for a moment of accountability. It does not call for any vengeance. It simply says, I know we've been done wrong. I know we've had to struggle. I know we've been through it all, but let's just forget all about that and hug. The kumbaya of today is not the kumbaya that was sung, first recorded by H. Wiley in the deep Gullah South by black men and women whose language met somewhere between Africa, the Middle Passage, and the shore of America. The real kumbaya did not come from folk singers who wanted to make people feel good and bring folks together without accountability. The real kumbaya was in the bellies of African people who were fighting against the Jim Crow South and the oppression that their people were going through. The real kumbaya was not some Angolan language and story that they made up so that we could think it was nice and we could think it was special, but kumbaya was mixed up in a tongue that they could not form these English words, but they knew on their heart that they needed the Lord to come by here. Kumbaya was a call to the Lord, just like Psalms 137 that says, I can't take it no more. I won't take it no more. And since I can't do anything about my situation, come by here, Lord. Come by here, Lord. Come by here, Lord. The real kumbaya is a declaration that in my circumstances, in my challenges, in my problems, and in the midst